Hello, Shubh.
Hello, audible?
Your
Hello.
voice is coming very low. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, thank you.
Uh, I'm audible clearly, right?
Yes, yes, now it's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. No, because in the previous session I was having trouble with my mic.
Okay, okay, fine.
Thank you.
So I'll be sharing screen by say 4 p.m. only, or do I need to? By what time participants will start joining?
Participants will start joining by 4 p.m. We'll
Okay,
wait for 10 minutes. I'll do the introduction part and then
okay,
I'll hand over the mic to you. So
okay,
from
sure,
then
sure,
on,
sure.
you can share your screen. So now I will be sharing the screen
Okay,
till
fine,
then.
fine. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. We are waiting for other participants to join. We will start in few more minutes. Hello everyone. I'm audible.
Yeah, Shubh, you are audible.
Okay. So we'll start with the session now. Okay. So welcome everyone. I am Shubh Parmar, your host for today's webinar. My team and I are here to make sure you have a seamless and engaging experience. If you have any questions or need assistance, feel free to use the chat window. We are here to help. So the topic for today is core infrastructure security services in Azure. Describe core infrastructure security services in Azure. This is the Advantage India Skilling, an AI NSI initiative by Microsoft aimed at empowering the future with AI skills at scale. It highlights key focus areas such as data and AI, Office 365 Copilot, GitHub Copilot, prompt engineering, and security. The initiative emphasizes the role of AI in skill development and digital transformation. Anyone who is interested to join the sessions, please connect with us, or anyone who wants to organize these exclusive sessions in your organization or college, please do let us know as these sessions are absolutely free. Today's event is sponsored by Synergetics and Microsoft. Synergetics is a leading edge learning solutions provider in India offering specialized training and consulting services. We empower businesses and professionals to thrive in today's fast evolving tech landscape by delivering transformative learning experiences. Our core focus is on enabling digital transformation through innovative skilling programs, advisory services, and end to end implementation support. From modernizing IT frameworks to mastering emerging technologies like AI, cloud computing, and DevOps, Synergetics is committed to equipping you with the tools and knowledge to succeed. This is the learning solutions which are offered by Synergetics, which is persona-based onboarding, onboarding add-on, certification add-on, reskilling, emerging technology training, certification hackathon, cloud adoption, latest technology training, sales, pre-sales training, practice playbook, and architecting. This is the Microsoft certification skilling journey. The journey begins with the fundamental certification, then progresses to advanced role-based certifications, and finally to expert level certifications. We are thrilled to have Ms. Sheetal Thakre as our today's speaker. She's certified in cloud security and works as a subject matter expert. She has also done PhD, MTech, BE, and has 10 plus years of experience in technical teaching and 5 plus years of research experience. She has delivered 30 plus trainings to various corporate batches on Microsoft security training, and she has hands on experience on Azure security, identity and access administration, Azure AD, M365 security, information security, and compliance. The agenda for today's webinar is Introduction to Azure Security Architecture and Core Security Services, Identity and Access Management with Microsoft Entra ID, Hybrid identity and governance features in Microsoft Entra, threat protection use Microsoft Defender XDR and Microsoft Sentinel, compliance data protection and governance with Microsoft Purview, and at last, Microsoft Service Trust Portal, privacy principles, and compliance management. You have to follow the code of conduct, which will create a respectful environment for all the participants. Please note participants are not allowed to take screenshot of the presentation and cannot do screen recording. Do follow us on our social media platforms to get relevant updates on upcoming webinars, workshops, certification training we do. Also, the link will be shared in the chat box. We run communities on Meetup. This is the emerging technology community. Anyone who are eager to learn about technological knowledge can join this community on Meetup. We have multiple communities in Pune, Gujarat, Nagpur, and Indore. Those who are interested to join this community, please log into Meetup app and gain your knowledge for free. Thank you so much for listening to me. Now we'll hand over the mic to a speaker. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Shub. Let me share my screen. Yeah, Shub. Please confirm whether the slide is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah. All right then. Once again, good evening all. This is Sheetal Thakre and I'll be the speaker for today's session, wherein we are going to explore the topic of core infrastructure security services in Azure. I am Microsoft certified trainer and the agenda for today's session is secure identity and access, wherein we are going to explore the concept of Microsoft Entra ID, how we can create the users, how we can create the group, and the security related concepts like conditional access and identity protection. Now, why this creation of user, creation of group or access or conditional access is important? Because as per the topic of this today's session, we are exploring the Azure security concepts. And when you say that you are accessing your Azure resources, the access should be done from the authenticated and authorized user only. So this authentication and authorization facility will be provided by identity and access management tool, which is Microsoft Entra ID, IAM2. So first we will explore that. The next in line will be secure networking, wherein we are going to explore the concepts like network security group, application security group, Azure firewall, DDoS, service endpoints, private endpoints, likewise. How you can protect your Azure resources. Then we will switch to secure data, wherein we are in particular exploring the concept of key vault. How you can protect your secrets, how you can securely store your certificates, and how you can protect your keys. And finally, we will be exploring the concepts of MDC, workload security approach, and then we will explore how SIM and SOAR is possible with the help of Microsoft Sentinel. So this is the agenda for today's session. I request all the participants to kindly mute yourself. If you have any query or doubt, kindly use the chat. Now, if you are new to this Azure security or infra security topic and you want to explore it, master it, or you want to have certifications related to Azure security, the path will be first you go for AZ 900, which explores the Azure fundamentals. So this will be the foundational certificate for you. Once you are done with AZ 900, the associate level or the intermediate level certificate is related to Azure Security Engineer, which gives you exposure to how you can secure the compute, how you can secure the network, how you can have the storage security, as well as more in depth of IAM. So next in line for you will be AZ 500. And finally, if you want to have the architect level exposure, in-depth study for the Azure solution architect and security related concepts, you should go for AZ 305. So this should be the flow of role-based infrastructure certifications. Moving on, the very first concept related to security, IAM operations. The IAM tool provided by Microsoft is Microsoft Entra ID, which previously was referred as Azure AD. So in many of the documentation, you may still find AD as the keyword or Azure Active Directory as the phrase used for Microsoft Entra ID. So this is identity and access management tool, which comes with the P1 and P2 licenses. So here, if you try to explore the licensing part of this Microsoft Entra ID, by which you can secure your identities and give them role-based access, attribute-based access, then you should be working with these plans, wherein you will find that under Microsoft Entra ID P1 plan, most of the features of this Microsoft Entra ID, as in conditional access, RBAC, group management, cross-tenant, as well as other SharePoint and session lifetime management features are covered. But rest of the identity protection related features, you will find they are covered under the P2. So if you want to go with the security features, it's better you should go with the Microsoft Entra ID P2 licensing, or you can explore the Microsoft Entra suite. So herein you will find that more security and advanced features are included there. So you can compare this. Just Google the Microsoft Entra ID pricing plans or licenses. Now, what are the features provided by this IAM tool? It is referred as multi-tenant cloud-based directory for the identity management services. Now here it is said to be integrated. So what this integration is referring? It is referring with the on-prem environment. So you may be having the existing on-prem environment wherein you are using, say, Active Directory, which is your on-prem IAM tool. So now for the availability feature and more security, you want to switch to your cloud environment. So is it possible to sync all the users from on-prem to or give them access to all SaaS applications? So that is possible because this Entra ID can integrate with the on-prem environment. So these are the features that with the simple connection using the Azure AD Connect or Microsoft Entra ID Connect, you can have the integration, and then it will provide the features like self-service. SSPR is one of the feature, self-service password reset, wherein the user can reset the password provided you have the licensing and you are being added to the group of SSPR. So thereby you can reduce the help desk ticket and you can fast track your password reset feature so that you can be more or employee can be more productive. Another very important feature it provides you is SSO, single sign-on, wherein with the help of your only one Entra ID, you can log into multiple SaaS applications. So password management won't be a headache now, increases the productivity. So these are the important features of Microsoft Entra ID. When we say that it's a IAM, Identity and Access Management tool, so this identity can be a human user, or it can be a device, or it can be an application, which requires authentication and authorization. So we start with this simple concept of identity as in humans. So how you can create a user, how user onboarding is possible. And then we will switch towards how you can give the different access or roles to the user so that the user or the identity will be able to authenticate, authorize, and access the Azure resource securely. So here you will find that intra.microsoft.com is the URL by which you will be able to explore your Microsoft Intra ID tool. Here I am logged in with my ID. I am already enrolled with this Microsoft Intra ID. From the left pane, you will find all the menu features which are available. If I go to the identity and explore this overview, you will find that my organization or tenant name is Contoso. Here you will find basic information about this Microsoft Entra ID. Tenant ID is this one. And I am proceeding with the license Microsoft Entra ID P2. There are these many users in my Entra ID enrolled, these many groups, applications and devices. So this is giving you overview of your Microsoft Entra ID, which is representing one organization by name Contoso. This identity is the feature which will allow you to add the user. So if I go to all users, you'll find these are the 35 users enrolled. And here you find this one is the user ID, which I am currently logged in with. Here you find this is the option from where you can create the new user or you can invite the external user as in guest to collaborate with your organization. Create user. Try to notice the mandatory fields here. The mandatory fields are you need to give the UPN user principal name, display name, password. You can have auto generated. You can give it manually. You can simply register this user. If you want the account to be enabled, this option is also there. So where this will be useful? So before joining, if you just want to enter or register the employee with your Entra ID, and after the employee joins, you may enable the employee's account. So therein you can use this feature. We will simply add this demo one user here. Same we will have the display name. You can have the nickname derived from this user principal, or you can have a separate nickname as well. Password auto generated. This option is also there. I'll give a manual password. While you enter the password, it will give you the important key points from the password policy that whatever you are entering, it should be as per the guidelines of password policy. Rest of the options you can explore, as in what is the property of this user account. Here you may notice that mandatory or star marked fields are not there. So you can enter the other related data of the user account. If you want to give some assignments, as in member of this group, or you want to add this role to particular user, those options are also there. Or you can simply fill the mandatory fields and you can review and create that user. Wait for this notification and try to refresh this. You'll find this user has been registered in your Entra ID. Now, one by one, likewise, you can add the user. But if you want to add more than one user at a time, so you have this bulk create or bulk invite as well. And bulk delete is also there. As soon as you click on this, you will find that it is going to give you the CSV template. You need to download, update it, upload it here with the properly filled mandatory fields, and you will be able to onboard multiple employees or users to your Microsoft Entra ID. What are the different types of users? So you find that internal member, internal guest. Why the internal user will be a guest? Because very less access is given. External member, external guest. Why the external user will be member? Because this user is given similar access to that of internal member. If you want to create group of multiple user, so Entra ID group feature is also there. Just try to explore this entra.microsoft.com identity, and here you should be finding group feature. Check out the existing groups in your Entra ID. Why to create the group of users? So that you can restrict the access, you can assign the licenses, or you can have the collaboration of those users. So here you will find group type. It allows you security and M365 groups. As soon as you create M365, you will find group email ID field is active. So this group is meant to be for collaboration on a common email ID. If I select security, you won't have this email ID associated with this security group. So as the name suggests security, this will be contributing towards the access control assignment of licenses, whereas M365 will be for collaboration. So likewise, you can go for the group creation part. How the access will be given. So there are different types by which you can have the access management. So here you find highlighted individually you can give the access, or you can give the access to entire group. So if I have a group of SOC analysts and I want to give them security admin role, and there are say 3 people in this group. So instead of assigning security admin to these 3 individually, I will create the group security group of these 3 people, 3 employees, and I will be giving the access to group level. So here you find directly you can have the access given, or it can be group based. Whether external user from your on-prem or from other domain, they can be given the access. Yes, you can give them access as well. And the access can be given depending on rules as well. So here you find you create a group and assign group the resource, so that resource group based resource access can be given. Or you can assign owner to a group, and that owner will be giving the access to rest of the group members. So these are the possibilities under the group and access control. When we say the intra external ID, here you are inviting the users into your intra ID or tenant, which is representing your organization. And why you will be inviting the external user? Because they can be your vendors, they can be your distributors, suppliers, they can be your partners. So you have this business to business category, or you may be hosting one app and you want different consumers or customers here. So you will be maintaining their data into a separate tenant, which is called as B2C space. So this space will be separate because when you say Microsoft Entra ID, this is for your internal user as in employees of this particular organization. But if you want to maintain the client, say customer data, consumer data, you will be having a separate tenant space. You can create this space and you can have your customers data under that. So you find external collaborators can be under B2B or they can be under B2C. Cross tenant sync is also there when there is merger of the organizations. The merging organizations will already be having their tenants in the Microsoft Entra ID. So instead of copying the data and having the same account reflected at both the Azure ADs, what you will have the cross-tenant access and collaboration given. So these are the scenarios when you will say that external identities are required. Already we have covered that they are vendors, they are your distributors, they are your partners. So you are inviting them. But again, you are making sure that they are guests and their access should be limited. So by default, this Microsoft Entra ID will give you that option wherein, let me show you here. If you go to users and user setting, you will find that these are the permission the users are getting, internal users. They can register app, default permission. They can create the security group. But when you explore external identities from the left pane and try to check on external identity collaboration, you will find here that by default, guest users have limited access to properties and membership of the directory objects. They can check on their properties. But when it comes to searching the internal members, there are restrictions. These you can obviously change, but by default, the guest access is limited. Here also, while inviting the guest, you can say that only admins can invite guests, or no one in the organization can invite, or member users and users assigned to the specific admin role can invite. So these settings can also be changed. Who can invite the guest? If you are using the self-service sign up, whether you want to enable that or no, that option is there. You have already defined the user flow and then only the guest users will be able to sign up to your Entra ID. Whether they can on their own leave the Entra ID, uh, your organization, your tenant. So that setting is also there. Whether you are able to invite the guest from all the domains or you want to deny the invitation to specific domains or allow invitations to only specific domains, these settings are also there. So by default here you can conclude that by default guest users have limited access. There is a feature called as Microsoft Entra ID protection, under which you will be having the different policies configured. So the very first is MFA registration policy, wherein you can make each and every user compulsory to register for MFA, multi-factor authentication, wherein only username and password won't allow you to access the resource. Rather, you need to go for the second step of authentication. Then there is another policy called as user risk remediation policy. Now this Microsoft intelligence and AI techniques are continuously evaluating the user, whether their credentials are leaked, whether this is a risky user, and they have assigned the different risk levels, high, low, medium. So when you configure this policy, and you can say that I can go with the medium risk only. So those users whose evaluation for user risk is high, they won't be able to access your resources, or you can have the access with the help of MFA. Then there is the sign in risk remediation policy. From which location, from which IP, from which device, whether the device is compliant or not. So likewise settings you can have here. So from where the user is signing in. So depending on that, you can configure the policy under Intra ID protection. Where you have these options, you go to intra.microsoft.com. And here you will find this on the left panel. Protection option is there. Identity protection is there. Here you have this conditional access, user risk policy, sign-in risk policy, and MFA policy configuration. So if I explore this user risk policy, I find that this assignment can be done to either all the users, or I can have the user risk policy applied to selected users, or I can be selecting groups as well. So if I want that all the admins which are included in leadership group, so all the accounts which are having higher privilege, for them I am creating leadership group. Their accounts are very much prone to say brute force attack, because when the hacker is getting their credential, it is quite easier to access your Azure resources. So whatever strict policies and security measures you are applying, you should be targeting the high privilege users. So here we can have this leadership group put under the user risk policy, or you may have each and every one to go through the user risk policy, which is the recommended one. So likewise, you can configure the user settings. Let us say all users. When you select all users and you want to exclude few of them, that option is also given to you. So there might be a scenario wherein the break glass account, or you might have heard of this, that all the users should not be locked out. Then no one will be able to go to the settings and change, modify it. So at least one account should be there which should be excluded from here, and which should be revises time to time. So for that you have this exclude feature given here. Depending on the risk appetite of your organization, you should be configuring user risk, how much user risk you want to tolerate. So if the user is, suppose user risk is medium, and you want to still allow it to access the resources, you should be setting it the low and above. When you say low and above, it will mean low, medium, and high. For that, you are configuring. When you select medium and above, it means for medium risk and high risk, you are configuring it. And when you say high, and if I say access is blocked, here two options are there. For all the users, when the user risk is high, generally high user risk means the credentials are been stolen, compromised. You will say that block the access. So in this scenario, for the low and medium risk users, they will be able to access the resources. Only high risk users will be blocked. But if you do not want to take the block action, Even in case of high risk, what you can do, allow access, but it will make it mandatory password reset. You cannot untick this. As soon as you untick this, it will say that you have to go with block access. So in case of high risk or any kind of risk, you want to allow the access, this is mandatory password change. So likewise, you can also go with the sign in risk policy configuration, which can also be applied to all the users or selected users. You can include few of them. Sign in risk, you can have this. These levels are defined by the Microsoft and they come under the different cases. As in high will be stolen credentials. Then you can say that medium will be if it is you are accessing it from the compromised IP or the device. So these are the cases which are included here. Now here in sign in risk, you will find that the access says that either block or allow with MFA. So these are two differentiating factors in case of user risk and sign risk policy. Security for your identities. Here you will find that policy you can enable or disable. There is no as such audit mode uh, uh, given in the user risk or sign in risk policy. What will be audit mode? That also we will check on. MFA registration policy, again you will find it can be targeted to all the users or selected users, wherein you will have this users and group option presented to you. You may exclude few of them and then requires Microsoft Entra ID MFA registration. Either enable or disable this policy. So these are the policies which are coming under the identity protection. Then we have this intra-connect. Previously, if you remember, we have seen that one of the feature of the Microsoft Entra ID is that integration is possible with the on-prem environment. So for that integration, there is one component which is Microsoft Entra Connect, on-premise application for the hybrid identity, which will sync your on-prem users to the cloud. So now with their ID, they will be able to access all the SaaS applications. How the authentication is done here? By default, PHS, password has sync will be there, or you can go for PTA, pass-through authentication. Federation is also possible. You will have to go with the Active Directory Federation server. Then it allows you to monitor the health of this sync service as well. So there is a feature of intra-connect health. If I go and show you on this portal, this is portal.azure.com. Now, why I am exploring this portal.azure.com? Whatever resources you are deploying, those resources will need the subscription. So here, all the resource deployment you will be doing from portal.azure.com, wherein if you search with the subscription, you'll find that such kind of subscription will reflect. It should be active. So it is like your wallet from where you will be spending all the credits to buy the resources. So this portal.azure.com will also give you the features which we have explored here in the intra.microsoft.com. Previously, there was a common portal to do the IAM activities as well as deploy the resources and related security. But now they have a separate portal related to IAM. So when we talk about any of the component which you need to deploy, you need to go with portal.azure.com. Check whether your subscription is active, whether you have a role owner's or contributor's role on that subscription, then only you will be able to create the resources on the subscription. Let it load. Still loading. We'll wait for a moment here. All right. Now here under this IAM, you'll find view my access. And these are the access given to this particular user on the subscription. As I am the owner, I can proceed with the creation of the resources. Now here on portal.azure.com, from the left pane, if you explore this Microsoft Entra Connect, you'll find that there are two options, Cloud Sync and Connect Sync. Here, Cloud Sync we are exploring. Another option, lightweight option to this is, let me show you quickly. There is this Connect Sync. We will explore that on the portal itself, Cloud Sync. And this is the Connect Sync. Initially, you had only this Cloud Sync option, my Connect option. Now they have this Connect Sync. Here in my environment, you will find that this Connect Sync, this is enabled. And if you want to find out the comparison between these two, Cloud and Connect, this is also given. The sync cycle from on-prem to the cloud for the Connect Sync is 30 minutes, whereas for the newly launched Cloud Sync, it is 10 minutes. It is also giving you better features as compared to the Connect Sync. So this is the improved version of Connect Sync. Cloud Sync is the improved one, latest one. Now, once the users from the on-prem are synced with the cloud environment, so how they will be authenticated? So authentication is done using PHS, which is the default one. Second option is PTA. You can configure, go to settings and change it. The settings of Microsoft Entra Connect, and then you can have the federation server as well. What is the difference between this, or in which scenario you will be using this? As the name itself suggests, password has synchronization. So here the hash of the password from on-prem environment. So hash of the password from the on-prem environment will be given to your cloud environment. And all the authentication will be done with now Microsoft Entra ID, because this Microsoft Entra ID now has the username and hash of its password. So even if your on-prem site is down, the authentication to access the SaaS application will be continuously available. So that is the advantage here of PHS. But this may be non-compliant because here the hash of the password is leaving the on-prem. So if this is the concern for any of the organizations that this is not the compliant criteria, so then they can go for PTA, wherein, let me show you. So this is the pass PHS, wherein the hash will be synchronized, and whenever user is trying to access this SaaS application cloud resources, they will be authenticated by Entra. Here in case of PTA, if you don't want hash of the password to leave the on-prem, what is happening? You are installing the lightweight PTA agents on each and every domain controller. Now user is trying to access the SaaS cloud resources, SaaS applications. So Microsoft Entra ID will say that I do not have the password. So it will request this PTA agents to do the authentication of this particular user. PTA agent will contact the on-prem AD. On-prem AD will check whether the credentials are matching, and then it will signal Entra ID that user, it will signal green or red. User is authenticated or not. If it says yes, user is authenticated, user will get the access. Now you should have at least 3 PTA agents to have the continuous availability of this. Having more than that, it will have the overhead of this encryption. But then this method will be compliant because even the hash of this password is not leaving the on-prem. Now, third is federation with the Microsoft Entra ID. So this will be trust established between two domains. So here now the Microsoft Entra ID is saying that I do not want to get involved in the authentication. So a separate federation server will be established and trust between two domains. Either it will be one way or two way will be established. So maybe when we are booking our tickets, so we can use the social IDs. So suppose this is ABC app, which allows us some sort of booking. So we can have the Gmail used here and we get our ticket. Maybe then we register to their domain and we are getting our user ID, say user1@abc.com. Can we access our Gmail with this user1@abc.com? No, we cannot. Means this trust is established in one direction only. So this is the trust between two domain, one directional right now, federation. Moving on to the Microsoft Intra authentication part, wherein you can configure the MFA, passwordless sign-in, and self-service password reset facilities. Whether they are also available for the hybrid integration, they will be available. Now, where you get this option, one of the policy for MFA registration we have seen here under the identity protection. If you go to identity protection, MFA policy is there. Other options also you can configure here. Even in the portal.azure.com, you find the options under this security. This is conditional access and identity protection. So here you are getting MFA registration policy. Now, if you go to the password reset, here you find SSPR facilities there. Just now we are on that topic, intra authentication, self-service password reset. So this self-service password reset, you can find this here. Along with this, let me show you. These are the on the intra.microsoft.com, if you go for the protection, you will find this authentication method and multi-factor authentication is there along with the password reset. So when you go for this MFA multi-factor authentication, two, three ways are there wherein you can enable this. One is to go for registration policy. Another is you can configure this for your user in two different ways. If you go to users, all the users, here you find per user MFA is there. So as soon as you click on this per user MFA, you will find by default multi-factor authentication is disabled for all the users. Show you here. This is the per user MFA multi-factor authentication, which is disabled. Now suppose for Alan, I want to enable it. I'll be selecting Alan. Right now it is disabled. You go for enable MFA. Click on enable. So you will find that if you refresh for Alan now, this facility is enabled. Now whenever Alan is trying to log in, will be given a screen to enroll for the MFA. Same thing here also you will find. So authentication methods will allow you to select these many authentication methods, which will also be acting as second level of authentication. So you can simply say that I want to enable fast identity online to passkey to enabled in my environment. Right now you find Microsoft authentication. This app usage is allowed, and then temporary access pass is allowed, and you find these few are allowed. If you want email or voice call, select this SMS and you simply have to enable this. Whether it should be enabled for all the users or selected group, if you want someone to exclude, that option is also there. So these methods will be available when you go for second level of MFA. Password protection is giving you the options related to lockout. So if 10 times you are entering your password wrongly, these are the default configurations. You will be locked out. All the information related to this is available here. So implementation of MFA, just now we have seen, you can go for MFA registration policy or you can go for per user MFA authentication. Here also in the bulk, it is possible to have the here. Select multiple users and you will be having the user MFA bulk operation, bulk update also possible. So 3-4 ways you can go for this. Passwordless authentication method, you can select from this authentication methods. Go for authentication methods. These policies will list what all possible authentication methods are there. So you can turn on them from here. You can add the external method which is recently included here in the portal. Which one is acting as the best authentication method? Always the Windows Hello for Business. It is also acting as secondary authentication as well as primary. Microsoft Authenticator app is also having a better security usability availability as well as fast identity online security keys. So here you find these are the best authentication methods to go or configure in your environment. Now, once the user is enrolled and MFA is enabled, how you will be giving access? So whether it should be role based. So if user is supposed to generate reports only and read the attributes, that level of access should be given. If user is supposed to configure and deploy the resources, then admin or contributor level access should be given. So depending on the role of the user, you will be giving the access at different scopes: management group, subscription, resource group, resource. So these are the four: management group, subscription, resource group, and resource. When you are giving the access at the management group, that will be inherited at the lower levels. So you will find there is the hierarchy of the scope: management group, subscription, then there is resource group, and it will have individual resources. So when a role is assigned here, it will be inherited at these different levels. So this role one will be inherited at this different level. Now suppose I am assigning some role 2 here. So this role 2 will be inherited at the lower levels. Likewise, it will work. Role categories are, let me change the pen color. Role categories are Azure roles and intra roles. So what this means: Azure role means subscription based roles, which are given for the resources. Whereas this intra role means they are tenant, organization level roles. A tenant can have multiple subscriptions. So role names and their categories also vary. From where you can access this? You can access this. Suppose in the portal.azure.com, I go for this subscription. Type subscription here. It will list all the subscriptions in your tenant. Go for the subscription, and here you will find there is this access control. Now here under this roles, under this role assignment, you find currently what assignments are there on this subscription, Visual Studio Enterprise subscription. If you want to add new one, go for roles tab, and here you find these are the roles for the Azure resources. If I want to find out whether anything related to virtual machine is there, so I'll search with the virtual keyword. I find virtual machine data access admin, virtual machine local user login, virtual machine user login. Likewise, roles are related to resources. They are Azure roles. Now, when I go for my Azure AD or Microsoft Entra ID, and here I find roles and administrator. Whether these things will be available in the entra.microsoft.com, you'll find those are also available here. You go to this users, all users, and here you will be able to select the user, and you will be able to check on the what roles are assigned here, and Azure role assignments are there. So assign roles. So you'll find these are the section for administrative roles, wherein you can have the add assignments. And this is the section for Azure role assignments. So you have to select the subscription. Here, this domain is not having any subscription. So I'm showing you the demonstration in this tenant. This is the Contoso one. Tenant is Contoso, and this one is separate tenant. So here we have explored the Azure roles previously, and now for the tenant roles, you will find these are the categories: attribute definition admin, billing admin, global admin, compliance admin is there, security admin is there, exchange admin is there, teams admin is there. So tenant level roles are there, as well as subscription level roles are there. So intra built-in roles, just now we have explored this. So this will give you the control over the access. Whether you can create the custom roles. If you are not happy with the inbuilt roles, you can always create the custom roles. That is also possible. You can check on here. Custom role creation is there. You can check in here. Roles and admins. Roles and admins. Here you can find new custom role. If I say create a new custom role, it says that for the tenant level roles, you can start from the scratch or you can clone the custom role. But you cannot clone the standard role. Whereas when you go for the subscription and you try to find access control, add custom role, you find that in case of Azure roles which are related to resource access, you can create the custom role from the built-in role as well. Clone a role, whereas here you have clone custom role. So that is the difference. Privileged identity PIM feature will give you just-in-time access. So here, if you try to explore it under the both the portals, you'll find similar kind of options are there. Identity governance, PIM, privileged identity management. So here you can have this PIM applied to the intra role groups or Azure resources. If you check on this PIM assigned to the roles, you can say assign eligibility, add assignment, select the role, say it is the attack simulator admin. What should be the scope? Select the member, and the important thing is you can have these settings, whether it should be eligible or active, for how much time it will be active. So all those configurations are possible. Here also from the portal.azure.com, if you go to roles and admin and you select any of the roles, the very first AI administrator, select this role. So right click description, and here you will find all the role permissions given to it. And here under the add assignment, you can assign it to the different users. You can check on the audit as per the roles. Bulk operation results also you can find out. These are the similar features you will find related to them. Settings will give you the options to check on the what should be the start date and time, end date and time, whether it should be eligible role or active role. Whatever is the eligible role can be activated later on. It can be approval based as well. So this is important feature from the security point of view. You can have the approval based access given. So just in time, time bound access, approval based access, MFA based activation. Why you want this access? Justification based. Some user is activating the access, notify the related team leads or higher authorities or resource owners. So notifications. Once the user is given the access, it may be internal, it may be guest user, review their access, whether they still need it after 7 days, 14 days, or it should be now removed. And all these activities will be audited. So this is important feature, PIM. Conditional access policies, depending on few of the conditions, whether the access should be granted or not. So whether the allow access or require MFA, whether to block the access or allow with MFA. This is the option you get. So quickly before starting with the network security, we will check on the conditional access. Here under the protection, conditional access is there. Entra.microsoft.com. If you go to portal.microsoft.com, similar settings under the security, you will find conditional access. So you can create a policy, conditional access policy, which says that, let us name it new conditional access policy, to which users you want this policy to be active. So select name is mandatory, users, all users or selected users. Let us say few users. It is giving us the option to select those few users. They apply to Adele and Alex. They will be listed here. Select them. Specific users are selected. They are listed here. If you want to exclude few of them, that is also possible. Target resource. So you can say that you want Microsoft Teams services. You want Alex and Adele to access this Microsoft Teams. Say access control. You want them to access the team only when they do MFA or only when device is compliant. So these are multiple choice, multiple selections you can do here. These are not radio buttons, either or. Multiple options you can be selecting here, or require password change. So if you select these three configurations, it will mean that the Adele and Alex can access the Microsoft team only when their device is compliant and they go through MFA. So likewise, you can turn on this policy off, or you can have this report only mode. It will only audit the action. It won't take the It will only log the activity. It won't take the action. What action we are saying? Say blocking. If we say for Alex and Adele, block the access of Teams, and I say report only. So it will still allow the access of Teams to these two users, but it will log that attempt. So likewise, but when I say turn on, this action will be taken place. So this, in case of conditional access, you are getting this three modes. In user and sign in risk policy, you were not having this report only mode. So if you want them to be in the report only mode or find out the impact of policy to your organization before you are actually turning it on, so here you will have this option created for all the users. You can have the conditions, user risk, sign in risk. So you incorporate that user risk, sign in risk policy here under conditional access so that you can have this audit mode available to you. So that was conditional access, one of the security feature provided by the Microsoft Entra ID, which is the IAM tool. Next, we will explore what security features are provided for the networking. So the very basic element of networking here is what? It's a virtual network. In virtual network, you are putting all your resources and you are applying the security measures at maybe say proxy level or at the virtual network level. So at virtual network level, what all possibilities are there? So here we are going to explore that in the next section. So basic features of VNet, they can be used for the load balancing, for DNS hosting, DDoS protection. They will be having the public IP, private IP associated with it. Now, when you say that you want to filter the traffic filtering is possible with the help of concept called NSG, Network Security Group, which is applied at the network interface card level, or it can be applied at the subnet level. It can be applied at both the levels as well. What it is doing? It is doing basic traffic filtering. So for basic traffic filtering, what we need? We need source and destination. Say source IP port, destination IP port, and the protocol we are using. So using simple 5 tuples, it will allow you to define the rules. So user security rules to allow or deny network traffic. Default inbound and outbound rules allow virtual network and load balancers. All other traffic is denied. So where you can verify all this, you go to the portal.azure.com where you have the active subscription. The subscription is active. Then only you can search for the NSG, Network Security Group. Do I have NSGs in my environment? Yes. If I want to create a new one, I'll say create and I'll select my active subscription. Just give me a moment. I'll be back in a moment. Yeah, I'm back. Let us continue. So what we are going here to do here, we are going to deploy one NSG, which can be associated with the NIC card or subnet level or basic traffic filtering. So on your active subscription, you deploy the NSG here, select the active subscription. Whether you want this resource to be placed in new group or existing group, that you have to do. Even if you say create new group, it will ask you, it will give you the option. So I can say demo group, and you give some name to your NSG, say demo. Select the region, in which region you want to deploy. Generally, the resources are cost efficient in the East US region, and more resources for the demonstration purpose are available here. So East US, I'll keep it. Next, you can have the tag related to it. Say a department and what, like VM, and for what is the value of that, which is not mandatory. Review and create. Now what we want to verify? We want to verify default inbound rules for the VNet and load balancer, whether all other traffic is denied. This is default setting. So from where we will check on, once our resource is deployed, it has passed validation, create the resource, go to resource. Here you find default inbound, and see, this is the RG demo group, and this is the name of this NSG demo, and this is your inbound security rules, wherein deny all inbound, deny all outbound traffic, whereas allow VNet traffic, allow Azure load balancer traffic from any port, any protocol, any protocol, destination and source, VNet, Azure balancer, load balancer. If you want to configure your own custom rule, you'll find in the setting inbound security rule is there. So if you want to configure the inbound security rule, go to add and select here source. So you may be saying that you want to allow a traffic, inbound traffic from particular IP only. So as soon as you select this IP here, you need to enter the IP from which you want to allow the traffic. Whether the service tags are applicable here. So if you select service tag, it will say that you can allow all the internet traffic or traffic from particular VNet or any load balancer or any action group. So these are the service tags which are associated with the default services. Or you can have a particular IP related here, application security group related here. Select the port similarly with the destination. To this particular destination, you are allowing the particular IP, you are allowing the traffic or the service tag. You can select the protocol. So these 5 tuples and their action you are modifying. So this is your network security group. Now, how you will be attaching this NSG with the NIC or subnet? So you will find that if you select this NSG, and suppose this NSG is defined. Now here you will find network interface, NIC card option is there, subnet option is there. So you can select this NIC and you can associate this NSG with that. So all the rules inbound, outbound, which are configured on this NSG, they will be associated with this NIC card. If you select subnet, you can associate this with, and this NSG is free of cost. You can associate this subnet as well. So it is giving me the option associate from this virtual network. If it has any subnet, then associate this IP with only default is there. So I can say okay. Likewise, you have this basic traffic filtering. This we have checked on the portal. NSG implementation at the NIC and subnet we have seen. What application security group is? Now suppose this VM, they are hosting the same application. And for these three together, you have to define the rules. So it is giving us a logical grouping of the virtual machines. So ASG is logical grouping of VMs. So you can say that this is my front end, which is accepting the traffic from internet at port 80. So let's say this is for front end. And this is suppose my back end, which is supposed to communicate with front end only and not accept the traffic and not accept the traffic from port 80. So this is blocked. So likewise, if there are multiple VMs, altogether you want to apply the inbound outbound rules, you will be going for application security groups. Similarly, you can find here ASG, application security group. On your active subscription, you can create the application security group. Let us select this RG demo. Let us say ASG demo and review and create. Then next is service endpoint. Service endpoint is what? If you have some say storage account and you want to allow the access to the storage account from known source. You do not want the access to be from unknown source. So you can create the service endpoint here. Endpoints limit network access to specific subnet and IP addresses. Means you will allow the storage access from particular VNet only. So here you find this is the Azure storage, which is allowing the access from this particular VNet only and from this IP address only. From rest of the machines, this storage account won't be accessible. So that is how you create the service endpoint. So if I go to portal.azure.com and if I try to find whether storage account is there in my, this storage account is there. So if I select this storage account, let me zoom it for you. And from the left pane, if I go to this security and networking, so I have the option here for the storage account. I can enable from the selected VNet and IP address only. So this is how you create the service endpoint. So when I select enable from selected VNet and IP, I can select the existing virtual network from where I want to allow the access. So I'll say this is my subscription. From this VNet only, I want access for the virtual network. So likewise, you will create the service endpoint so that your resource can be accessed from the known location. So you are enhancing the security. Azure storage is accessed over the public IP from the known. This is limited to some services. It cannot be created for all of these services, and it will take some time to be active. You have the private endpoint facility as well. So what is happening in the private endpoint? Here you find it is accessed over public IP. Now, in case of private endpoint, whatever is the service to be accessed, you are creating the instance of this service inside the network from where you want to access it. So you are attaching network interface card and you are allocating the IP under this IP range from which network you want to access. And now it will be accessed over private IP. And that's why it is private endpoint. Within the subnet, it will be accessed with the range of this virtual net. So you are bringing the instance of this storage account inside your network so that it will be accessed over private IP. That is private endpoint. So you can simply search here private endpoint related documentations. Also, you will find private endpoint. When you create, you will find that they select the demo name, some name. As soon as you type name, NIC, network interface is attached with it. And then you go for resource and you attach this NIC to a resource whose instance you want to bring inside the network so that it will be accessed over private IP. That is the concept of private endpoint. Securing network. Express routes are what? They are the dedicated. Here, instead of this slide, I'll tell you. These are the express routes provided by the service provider, like say Tata or Airtel. So these are dedicated lines. You will be getting actually the dedicated cables dig from your side to the Microsoft's so that you can communicate over the secure media. So these are the express route service. Actual cables will be laid for you. They can be obtained from the service providers like Tata, or you can go for the direct routes as well. When you go for the direct routes, you need to contact Microsoft directly, and there is limitation of the uh, what speed you want, 100 or 10. So that limitation is there in case of the. Let me show you whether there is any link here. Just type here express routes. These are all the resources. So go for portal.azure.com. And if you want to configure the security solutions related to identity, you should be going to the entra.microsoft.com. Now we are talking about the resources. So we are exploring portal.azure.com. Type express route direct. So here you can express route direct. It tells you Express Route Direct gives you the ability to connect directly into Microsoft's global network at peering locations strategically distributed across the world. Now here 10 or 100 Gbps, these are the only connectivity options you have. But if you go with the service provider model, you may have the better options. You can create it. When you say create the express route, it will allow you to contact with the Microsoft as well. You go to this express route direct and you need to contact the Microsoft. They will give you some numbers through which you can go for this registration and all. Next, security solution for your Azure resources is DDoS plan. So distributed denial of service plan. What is the scenario in case of DDoS or simply denial of service? That it may be your system, it may be my system. Unknowingly of us, some user is controlling it by having some malicious script running in our system, and now our system is acting as a bot and it is generating so many requests to access a target, which can be any of the server hosting the application. So this is continuously generating the request. So this is overloaded, cannot handle now service request, and so it is denying the service of the application which is hosted here. So that is denial of service. It is happening from the different location, distributed denial of service. So how this can be sorted out, this scenario can be sorted out. What is happening in the DDoS plan? It is creating the profile of public IP. What that profile has how many requests it is expecting normally per time unit, say per second. So if it can handle say 1050 requests per second. And now suddenly, because of the DDoS attack, it is finding that it is getting 2507 requests. So it is above its threshold level. So now it will say that it is experiencing DDoS attack. So how you can protect your resources against this? You can simply go to the portal.azure.com. DDoS, you can have DDoS protection for your resources and you can create it. Now this plan comes in two variations: protected resources, and another is especially for IP protection, public IP protection. So when you deploy this DDoS plan, it will be deployed for all the resources. DDoS demo. It will be deployed for all the resources which you can be adding. But if you want to avail the IP DDoS, you create the public IP and then go for protecting it individually from its configuration. What is the difference? You will note the difference here. Let me show you. By default, this DDoS protection will do what? It will protect the 100 public IPs. It will protect the 100 public IPs. But it might be possible that you do not have the 100 public IPs to protect. So for that reason, you will go with the, instead of network protection, you'll go with the IP protection plan. So monthly charge per PIP, public IP, will be this much. Whereas for the 100 public IPs, you are getting near about this much. So this is giving you comparison also. If you have lesser number of IPs, which one you should go for? Because here, if you say that you just need to protect the 10 IPs. So here you can calculate the difference between these two. Let me show you what happens when you deploy. Let it deploy. Till that time, we will move ahead. This related to features and pricing. When you go for the another firewall solution, two varieties are there. The standard variation of firewall and the premium one. So when you compare these two, you find this is the intelligent one, which is based on AI technology. And so you are getting the additional features as TLS inspection, transport layer security inspection, wherein whenever the message or the traffic is encrypted, you do not know whether the attackers illegal or say unwanted the scenario which is not desired for your organization, that type of traffic is there. So when you go for TLS inspection, it will try to get the CH certificate, it will try to inspect the package, and it will try to protect your environment. You are also getting IDS, IPS, intrusion detection, intrusion protection here in case of premium with the higher charges. URL filtering. So URL filtering will allow you to filter using the fully qualified domain names, and then web category. So if it is all the 10 sites are falling under gaming or gambling or social media sites. So using the web categories, you can block them instead of going for one by one. It will have the database wherein it will have this sites listed under web categories. So these are the facilities you are getting under the premium firewall solution. Now, when you go for this DDoS plan, which is deployed, you will find that add protected resources will give you, you can protect or you can put behind this DDoS plan VNet, firewall, application gateway, bash and host, load balancer, network interface card, virtual machine sets, and Git. These are the options. And if you simply select a public IP in your environment, so you can go for IP based protection of DDoS. So this is the public IP address I have selected. Protect IP is there. So choose the right DDoS protection level for your IP. You can say protected. So this is the option you are getting under the DDoS. Network protection is there and IP protection plan is there. This is solution you are getting here. Firewall we have explored two variations. So here you find basic, standard, premium. Premium is giving you this TLS inspection, fully managed IDPS, URL filtering. Whereas in the basic, you get this web content filtering and threat intelligence. And basic has very few capabilities. If you are working with different regions, centrally you can have the firewall manager, which will be controlling or placing one global policy and controlling the rest of the regional firewalls. So parent-child rule relation will be there. Then you have this VPN force tunneling, wherein you can force the traffic from your cloud to go to the on-prem for the inspection so that business critical data won't be transmitted to or exposed to the internet directly. So instead of sending the traffic directly to the internet, create user defined routes, transmit it to on-prem environment, decrypt it, inspect it, and then encrypt and transmit to the internet. So these are your VPN force tunneling option. NSG we have covered. Difference of NSG and firewall is what? NSG is 5 tuple. It is not intelligent, but it is free of cost. Here you are getting fully qualified domain name support. Here there is no support, but it allows service tags. There is a WAF also, web application firewall, which you can deploy so that you will get the protection from this frequent cross-site scripting or SQL engine, all the web attacks, which is based on OWAFs. Data security feature, especially we are exploring the key vault here. Key vault provides you the encryption, which is based on this FIPS 142 level 3 standard. There are 4 different levels of this standard, and the security increases with the level. Now, hardware, a secured model provides you level 3 security, which adds the requirement for the physical temper resistance. So here you find key vault as a space wherein you can store your keys, secrets, and certificates. So two variations are there, vault as well as managed. When you say managed, it is managed by the Microsoft Azure, and this is hardware. So this will be like a chip, a dedicated hardware to your organization wherein you can store your keys. So this will come with the different pricing plan, and managed HSM you need to search. Whereas for general key vault, just search for key vault, which comes in two key product protection methods, software based and hardware. Now, what this is also hardware, this is also hardware. What is the difference? This will be dedicated to your tenant, and this will be shared between multiple tenants. That is the difference you are getting here. Pricing plans, it is talking about standard and premium, and the encryption it is using is for the HSM protected keys, elliptical curve, RSA, and this symmetric oct HSM you are getting. Whereas software protected, you are getting RSA and elliptic curve. So more secure will be dedicated hardware because it is also providing you level 3 security, tamper resistance. These are the Azure roles related to key vault. So what is secret? It can be your password. So you can say VM password and its value. That is your name and value pair. VM1 and its password. So that you can store in the key vault. Certificates. So you can use certificates for the authentication related to your applications also. So it will allow you to generate the certificate, store it as well. So go to the portal.azure.com and search for this key vault. It will give you this, the create key vault feature. Select active subscription, select the resource group, name of a key vault. It is already in use. So let us have some appended here. Pricing plan, it can be premium for the hardware secured, or it can be standard. This is also in use, 55. And there are the options like soft delete, wherein if you delete some keys or certificates from the key vault, it will go to the area wherein it will stay there for some time and you can recover, restore it. So days to retain deleted vaults. By default, it is configured for 90 days. Purge is what? Permanent delete protection. Purge protection is you are disabling this. Permanent delete, you are not allowing it. Access configuration, it can be policy based or role based. So roles we have, those were listed on the slide related to Azure roles key vault. Policy also you can define, and that policy can be assigned to different users. So what it will say, keys can be accessed under get access, list access, update, delete access. Secrets, these are the three type of values you can store in key vault. So for each of them, these access will be given. So that is your key vault. Here I already have one key vault with me. Let me show you. So if you go to this keyword object, you find the secret. The secret is there. So you can create a keyboard secret. You can go to keys, you can generate the keys for you. So this is related to data security and how it is accessed. It is giving you how it is accessed. It is accessed using role base. It is accessed using policy, which we have already discussed. You can store the certificates, assign different roles. And from this keyboard, the keys, encryption keys can be obtained and any of your document or data can be encrypted. So this is the customer managed key, which is generated by the user, stored in keyboard and used for the encryption. So all this will be covered in detail in those different courses. Key rotation operation is also there. You can generate the different new values of a key instead of continuing with the same value. If you are generating new value, key rotation operation will cost you. That is the option. And this is how you can recover the deleted value from the soft delete area. So with soft delete protection, if someone mistakenly deletes some key or certificate, it will be there in the soft delete area, which can be restored. And finally, you can protect all your Azure resources, keyboard, storage using MDC, Microsoft Defender for Cloud, which is the workload protection approach. So which workload you can protect? You can protect the workload from your native cloud. You can protect the workload from the on-prem, or you can protect the workload from the multi-cloud. So you onboard all the workload from these different sites into the portal, portal.azure.com, and you protect them using this Microsoft Defender for cloud. So what different protection plans are there? Go to the portal.azure.com, select for Microsoft Defender for cloud. And for the very first time, when you explore this, it will allow you to select your subscription because all the resources are under the subscription. So select the Azure subscription and you find that you will have under this management environment setting, your subscription protected. And you can have different security standard and policies applied to it. So like ISO standard applied to it, SOC standard, NIST standard applied to it. And by default, you'll find that it is always protected with the Microsoft Cloud Security Benchmarks. So this is workload protection approach for you. And there is security policy. Just now we have seen this ISO. Security recommendation also it will give you that related to each of your environment, Azure, AWS, GCP, whether you are supposed to perform any security configuration or policy application related to the affected resources. What is the risk factor, attack paths? So all those details, recommendation it will give you so that you will improve on your security score. And the Sentinel is what? Collecting the logs from your different environment. Collect the logs from your on-prem environment, multi-cloud environment, your native environment, all these logs They are collected in a log analytics workspace. And this is your security information and event management. From these logs, applying the analytics rules, you will get the alerts and incidents. And those can be handled manually or using automation. When you say automation, that is your security orchestration, automation, and response SOAR. So Sentinel is SIM and SOAR facilitator provided by the Microsoft. So collect the logs, detect any threat is there, investigate that alert incident and respond to it. So CDIR cycle it provides you. Data connector are for collecting the logs. Workbooks are for showing the visually what you say graphs of all the alerts, incidents, any event. Analytics rule are to define the queries so that alerts will be generated. Playbooks are defined for the automation. And hunting you can do by firing the queries on the logs on your own so that you can find out any suspicious activity which is happening in your environment, which may be skipped by any of the security solution. That is Sentinel for you. Thank you all. Thank you for connecting. That was all from my end. All the solutions related to securing the Azure resources with the help of Microsoft Entra ID and the Azure Security Solutions, MDC and Sentinel. Thank you all. Thank you for connecting. Yeah, Shubham, over to you. Shubham, you are there? All right. If you have any query, maybe you can use the chat option to type. I'll be there for 2-3 minutes. Kindly use the chat option if you have any query.
Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this match. Please give your feedback before ending the session. Once you are done giving the feedback, you can end the session. Thank you so much.